Rob in Indianapolis, I, for one, was happy that Shayna BasZler did not get called up because she deserves her own personal call-up sometime this summer. What are your thoughts on her coming up as NXT champion, or NXT Women's Champion, and beating Becky 2 belts to become Shayna 3 belts? Well, Jason No Belts thinks that would be a clever way to get Shayna over as a killer when she gets called up, but here's the problem with that idea. That implies that they are going to keep both belts on one person, possibly into maybe even the early part of next year. Because if Shayna were to win them, then she shouldn't be losing them for a very long time. And I would not have anybody beat Shayna BasZler for a while after she debuts. And so I think, A, they're going to want a full-time champion on SmackDown once they move to Fox. And if they're keeping this brand split and they have 2 belts, then they should have 2 champions. The Becky 2 belt stuff is cute for a while, but it's going to wear thin. They're going to have to split them again, I think, in the next few months. Probably by SummerSlam. You know, there were rumors last year that WWE was considering a Queen of the Ring tournament sometime this year. And I don't doubt that it was an idea that probably was batted around, and maybe it's on the back burner, maybe they decided against it, because I haven't heard anything about that since. But that was the rumor and the scuttlebutt at the time. I liked the idea when it was first mentioned of a Queen of the Ring, and I pitched the idea on the podcast of having 1 or 2 NXT women in the tournament, including Shayna BasZler, and using that as a way to debut her on the main roster and having her win. And having her go all the way, which would then earn her the right to challenge the women's champion, let's say of the brand of her choice. I think the idea works even better now, because if they time things right, if they do a Queen of the Ring, the tournament happens, let's say this summer, it climaxes in July, let's say Shayna wins, and she earns the right to challenge Becky for both belts at SummerSlam in Toronto. And what better person to go after Becky Lynch than Ronda Rousey's best friend? So Shayna's goals would be twofold: to prove that she's the most dominant champion in all of WWE. She still has her NXT title, let's say. And also to make Becky pay for what she did for getting one over on her friend at WrestleMania. Becky and Shayna, champion against champion, at SummerSlam, I think would be a big match. Then after Shayna wins, she vacates the NXT Women's title to focus on the other 2, which they could split if they want to have 1 belt on Raw and 1 belt on SmackDown. But that's how you could establish Shayna right out of the gate as a credible threat and a big name on the main roster.